Hello there, if you're watching this video, chances are you're at that age where getting out of bed in the morning isn't as effortless as it once was in your 20s. Your body feels slower, your muscles aren't as firm, and maybe you've asked yourself, is this just normal after 60? I used to think that too. My name is Mark Ellis. I'm 60 years old. And I'm not just a doctor, I'm someone who's living through the very same biological shifts you are. Over the past 30 years in medical practice, I've seen thousands of patients in their 50s, 60s, and 70s walk into my clinic with the same concern: loss of strength, loss of confidence, loss of a sense of self. But I've also witnessed the opposite: people diagnosed with age-related muscle loss who steadily regained control, steadily found balance again in life, through surprisingly simple changes. Let me tell you a story. Mary was 68, a retired schoolteacher. She came to see me one late afternoon after falling in the bathroom and not being able to get up on her own. What hurt her most wasn't the bruise, it was the feeling of helplessness. "I used to carry both my grandkids at once, doctor," she said, eyes cast downward. "Now I can't even lift a bag of groceries." But after just 6 months of working together, with just one habit, doing a few gentle push-ups each morning and having a bowl of amaranth porridge afterward, Mary turned things around. Her recovery didn't come from expensive medication or fancy gym equipment. It came from a signal, something that reawakened her body from a state of quiet shutdown. I call it a biological signal. When we're young, our bodies respond quickly to movement and nutrition. Every weight we lift, every high-protein meal sends a clear message: build muscle, heal, grow. But after 60, things change. Our bodies become less responsive. We need a clearer, stronger signal to remind ourselves, you're still alive, you still have work to do. And that's why I talk so much about amaranth, a tiny ancient grain I jokingly call a molecular mailman. Amaranth isn't new. It's been around since the time of the ancient Inca. But to modern medicine, it's a rediscovery, a bridge between tradition and future science. It contains all 9 essential amino acids, including lysine and leucine, 2 key players in muscle repair. It's also rich in magnesium, polyphenols, and a rare antioxidant called squalene, which protects cell membranes, including brain cells. One warm bowl of amaranth in the morning, paired with a few simple movements, push-ups, walking, standing, and sitting, not only helps preserve your muscle, but also wakes up your metabolism, reduces inflammation, and supports the growth of mitochondria, those little energy factories in every cell. Have you ever felt like your body just doesn't respond to your efforts anymore? I've been there. There was a time I loaded up on protein, drank all the whey powders, stuck to a consistent workout routine, and still felt exhausted. That's when I realized it's not about how much I was doing, but about when and how I was sending the signal. After 60, you don't need to eat more. You need to eat smarter. Eat with intention, like you're delivering a message to your cells. Repair, regrow, reawaken. Each morning when I cook a small pot of amaranth, I'm not just making breakfast. I'm resetting my biological operating system. Picture this: a quiet morning, you wake up, take a deep, slow breath. You place your hands gently on the edge of the bed, do a few push-ups, not to burn fat, not to build a six-pack, but simply to tell your body, I'm ready. Then you sit down, enjoy a warm bowl of porridge made from these tiny seeds packed with the wisdom of nature, amaranth. No rush, no pressure, no complicated routines. Just you, your breath, your movement, and your signal. One of my patients, Richard, 73, once told me, "Doc, I don't need to feel young again. I just want to get out of bed without fearing a fall." And he did. After just 8 weeks of eating amaranth and practicing sit-to-stand movements each morning, he put away his cane. He stopped dreading stairs. You see, strength isn't always about youth. It's about recovery. You don't need to run. You just need to not fall. You don't need to lift weights. You just need to lift yourself. A question I often ask my patients and myself is this: what signal did you send your body today? Was it a rushed meal, a slouched posture, a nap that ignored your core muscles, or was it a spoonful of warm porridge, a mindful walk, a single deep breath? In the next part, I'll dive deeper into the biology behind muscle loss after 60, Why sarcopenia isn't a dead end, but an invitation to rebuild, smarter, wiser, and stronger. If you're ready to start having a deeper conversation with your own body, let me walk with you on this journey. If you're still watching this part, I invite you to take a deep breath. Gently now, we're not in a rush, because today's moment isn't about listening with your ears, but listening with a deeper sense of inner awareness. Let me ask you to picture this. One morning you get out of bed. Everything seems okay at first, but you notice it takes a little more effort to sit down. It's harder to stand back up. It's not painful exactly, but something has quietly shifted. A few months later, you're no longer excited to take that morning walk. The stairs feel steeper. Your balance isn't what it used to be. At first, you think, well, I guess this is aging. But over time, that familiar feeling of weakness starts to feel normal and becomes part of you. That's how sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, quietly sneaks in. It doesn't make a scene. It doesn't scream for attention. It arrives like an old visitor and just never leaves. But today, I want to give you some good news. Sarcopenia isn't your destiny. It's a message, and messages can be changed. In medical science, we call it anabolic resistance, the body's reduced response to protein and movement as we get older. But here's the thing, less doesn't mean gone. Slower doesn't mean stopped. You still have the machinery to build muscle. You still have mTOR, your internal signal for cell growth. You still have mitochondria, those tiny power plants inside every muscle cell. They're not dead, they're just waiting for a signal. I remember one of my patients, Leon, 76. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I'm a machine on standby, not completely shut down, but not doing much either." I asked him, "Then who presses the restart button?" He smiled and pointed to his heart. And you know what? After just 3 months, with only 2 small changes, walking for 15 minutes after meals, drinking a warm cup of amaranth cooked in almond milk each morning, he was back traveling with his wife, something he hadn't done in years because he was too tired. Our bodies after 60 are like winter gardens. The grass may turn brown, the flowers might fall, but the roots, they are still alive, waiting underground for the next spring. And the beautiful thing is, spring doesn't come from outside. It starts from within. Amaranth is part of that internal signal. You see, I used to be someone who didn't believe in superfoods. I trusted lab work data, biochemistry, but in recent years, as I started listening more to my patients instead of just reading their charts, I realized sometimes the things that make the biggest difference are the smallest. Half a cup of amaranth, rich in lysine, leucine, magnesium, and polyphenols, isn't a magic pill. It's a message to your mTOR system, to your mitochondria, to your immune cells. Wake up. You still matter. You're still needed. One patient, Carol, once told me, "Doc, I feel like my system is outdated, like my body isn't running the latest software anymore." I asked her, "So what message have you sent your body today?" From that day on, she started using amaranth as her update tool. Every morning, she called it her meditation meal. She didn't eat in front of the TV. She didn't read the news, just her, a warm bowl of porridge and a mind filled with gratitude for a body that was slowly recovering. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying amaranth is a miracle cure. What I'm saying is, in so many cases I've seen when people start eating mindfully, choosing foods that act as activators instead of just fuel, it's not just their muscles that bounce back. Their spirit, their spark, it lights up again. Science has confirmed this. Amaranth contains all 9 essential amino acids. It's rich in magnesium, iron, and phosphorus, which help muscle contraction and ATP energy production. It has squalene, an antioxidant that protects brain cells. It activates mTOR after meals and supports AMP, the cleanup crew, during rest. In other words, when you eat at the right time, especially after gentle movement, you're not just sending a signal to build muscle. You're telling your body, repair, clean, rejuvenate. So now, let me ask you something. What kind of signal are you sending to your body? Think back to your most recent morning. Did you wake up in a hurry? Or did you sit for a few moments in the morning sun, eating something light, nutritious, intentional? Did you take a short walk to get moving? Or did you stay still for hours, coffee in hand, anxious over the news? I'm not asking you to overhaul your life. I'm inviting you to start with one small thing, because healing doesn't need to be fast, it just needs to be consistent. And your body, it's listening, every day. In the next section, I'll be talking more about how food works as a biological language, and how, after 60, every meal can become a kind of genetic reprogramming if you learn how to speak the body's native tongue. If you're ready to keep discovering how to live well, not to be young again, but to age with strength, intention, and grace. I'll see you in part 3. I'd like to begin this part with a simple question. Do you eat to survive, or do you eat to restore? Most of us grew up believing that eating was just about feeling full, staying healthy, and having energy. But almost no one ever taught us that eating is also a form of communication. Not with the person across the table, but with the cells inside your body. Every meal is a conversation. And after 60, that conversation needs to change. I want to tell you about a friend of mine, also one of my patients. His name is Joe. He's 66. A big guy, used to be a construction worker. But after retiring, he moved less, ate irregularly, and started gaining weight. One day he came to my office and told me he felt tired all the time. He was forgetting things and no longer felt that spark, that energy he once had. After running tests, nothing was seriously wrong. But what caught my attention wasn't his blood work. It was the look in his eyes when he said, "I feel like I'm slowly losing myself." So I asked him, "Joe, what goes through your mind when you prepare a meal?" He chuckled. "I don't think about it at all. I just eat whatever's around whenever I feel hungry, like filling up a gas tank." And that was the moment I started teaching him to think of food as a way to send signals to his body. After 60, we don't need as much fuel as we used to. But we do need clearer, more precise information because our bodies aren't as responsive as they once were. Let me give you an image. Imagine you're using an old-school radio. The dials are worn, the tuning is fuzzy. If you want to hear a beautiful song, you can't just spin the knob randomly. You need to send a clear, timed, and strong signal. Your body works the same way. It still knows how to play the music of recovery. But the signal has to be right. And sometimes that signal comes from a simple breakfast of amaranth. Now, when I say food is a biological language, I'm not being poetic. I mean it literally. In molecular medicine, we know that each nutrient group carries a different message, one that affects your genes, enzymes, and hormone systems in different ways. For example, leucine activates mTOR, your body's signal to build muscle. Magnesium fuels your mitochondria, creating cell energy. Squalene protects mitochondrial membranes, fighting aging. Polyphenols reduce inflammation, cleaning up cellular waste. And amaranth, that tiny, humble seed, contains all of these messages in one bowl of porridge. I remember a special case. An 81-year-old man, a retired PE teacher, came to see me after a hospital stay. He had lost muscle fast. He could barely walk. Even getting out of bed made him shake. He asked me, "Mark, do I still have a chance?" I said, "Absolutely, but not through medicine, through how you eat, how you move, how you breathe every day." We started with just one change each morning after waking up. He did 3 minutes of light movement. Then he ate a bowl of amaranth porridge, topped with chia seeds, banana slices, and some pumpkin seeds. 4 weeks later, he came back, still thin, still slow, but his eyes were different. He said, "I don't eat just to survive anymore. I eat to talk to my body, and I think it's listening." Now you might wonder, really, can one little seed make that much of a difference? I wondered too, but then I saw it over and over again. People who eat amaranth regularly sleep better, have fewer arthritis flare-ups, recover faster after light exercise, even feel more emotionally balanced. But most importantly, they start to feel in control of their bodies again, and that after 60 is priceless. We live in a world that moves fast, but you know what? Your cells don't rush. They need time, rhythm, and consistency. So when you sit down to a warm bowl of amaranth porridge, cooked slowly, eaten slowly, chewed with care, you're aligning yourself with that deeper rhythm, the rhythm of healing, the rhythm of renewal. I once wrote in my notebook, strength in aging doesn't come from muscle, it comes from mindfulness in every meal. One bowl, one spoon, one deep breath, It's not a small thing, it's a language of recovery. In the next part, I'll explore the link between inflammation, cellular energy, and muscle function, and why, for many people over 60, chronic fatigue isn't just about poor sleep. It's a signal from the mitochondria crying out for help. If you're ready to start restoring your energy step by step, I'll see you in part 4, with more surprising truths coming from inside your own body. I often ask my older patients a simple question. When was the last time you truly felt full of energy? Most sit quietly for a while, then say something like, probably over 10 years ago. Many believe that fatigue, slow recovery, afternoon drowsiness, or poor stamina are just normal parts of aging, but they are not. That isn't aging. That's your cells feeling exhausted. That's your mitochondria calling out for help. You've probably heard of mitochondria before. They're often called the powerhouses of the cell. But to me, they're more than that. They are the source of inner vitality. They decide whether you walk with ease or shuffle slowly, whether your mind feels sharp or foggy, whether you recover after a simple grocery run or end up lying down the rest of the afternoon. I once had a special patient, George, age 74, a kind man with a deep, soothing voice. He used to sing in his local choir. When he came to see me, he said, "My voice is still here, but my breath isn't. I can't sing for more than 2 minutes without sitting down." He thought it was his heart, but after all the tests, his heart was just fine. So what was wrong? His mitochondria. As we age, mitochondria lose their ability to produce energy efficiently. They start releasing more free radicals, leaking electrons, and triggering low-grade chronic inflammation. We call this process inflammaging, a kind of silent inflammation that doesn't always show symptoms but affects everything. It weakens muscles. It clouds thinking. It slows down recovery, and it makes you feel less like yourself. The good news is, modern science is helping us understand this better. Certain nutrients can actually calm inflammation and help restore mitochondrial function. That's where amaranth steps in as a healing companion. Let me explain. Amaranth contains squalene, a fat-soluble antioxidant that integrates into cell membranes and protects mitochondria from oxidative damage. This is incredibly important because mitochondria have thin, delicate membranes. Once those membranes are damaged, the entire energy system inside your body gets thrown off. Amaranth is also rich in magnesium, the ignition key for the enzyme that creates ATP, the energy molecule your body uses for every single movement. When magnesium is low, ATP slows down. You feel drained. Your muscles lose strength, and you don't even know why because you're eating well and sleeping enough. I've seen this happen again and again. Take Angela, 69. She once told me, "Doctor, I'm not sad. I'm not in pain. I just don't want to do anything." Sound familiar? It wasn't depression. It was like her engine had shut off. We ran some tests. Her magnesium was low, inflammation markers were elevated, and glucose tolerance had dipped. We made just a few small changes. A warm amaranth breakfast with almonds and antioxidant-rich fruit, plus 15 minutes of gentle walking after eating. 3 weeks later, she smiled and said, "I no longer feel that silence inside me." You see, fatigue and inflammation aren't two separate problems. They're tightly linked like yin and yang. Chronic inflammation, even mild, disrupts mitochondria. And when mitochondria struggle, the body tries to compensate by triggering even more inflammation. It's a vicious cycle. And the way out isn't anti-inflammatory drugs. It's the right fuel at the right time. Amaranth also provides iron, phosphorus, and unique bioactive peptides that regulate cytokines, those tiny molecules that control inflammation. It helps lower pro-inflammatory signals like TNF-alpha and IL-6 and increase IL-10, your body's own anti-inflammatory molecule. In other words, you're not putting out a fire with a bucket of ice water. You're teaching your body how to regulate the flame. I once wrote in my clinical journal, when the body learns to calm inflammation from the inside, recovery stops being a maybe and starts becoming a when. I remember asking an elderly patient once, "What does your body feel like to you these days?" He laughed and said, "Like an old radio with bad reception, sometimes static, sometimes nothing at all." I asked, "Well, have you tried changing the wires?" He paused for a moment, then softly said, "No, I never thought my body could receive new signals." Today, I hope you think differently. Your body, even at 60, 70, or 80, can still receive and respond to signals, but you have to be the one to send them. Simple messages like, "I'm eating to restore, not just to feel full. I'm moving to live, not just to burn calories. I'm living with rhythm, slowly, steadily, intentionally." In the next part, I'll bring you back to the breakfast table, not as a routine, but as a deeply healing ritual. I'll show you how I, along with my patients and thousands of others, use amaranth as a tool for mindfulness and conscious aging. Together, we'll explore breakfast as a way of living, a place where your body, your mind, and your age can rediscover a rhythm that feels whole again. If you're still watching at this point, I believe you're not just searching for information. You're searching for a way of living. Maybe you've tried different diets. Maybe you've tried whey protein, loaded up on eggs, taken all kinds of vitamins, yet still, your body doesn't seem to respond like it used to. I understand that. And I'm here to tell you something important. It's not your fault. Your body isn't broken. Maybe you've just been moving too fast during a time in life that actually needs you to slow down. I want you to think back to your breakfasts. Not today, but 10 years ago. Maybe 20. Do you remember? Maybe it was a quick cup of coffee, a piece of toast on the way to the market, or maybe it was a lively, noisy table, now only alive in memory. Today, you're in a different season, a different space, but that doesn't mean it's all gone. In fact, after 60, we get to begin again, starting with one warm spoonful in the morning. I have something I call the morning recovery ritual. It's not a religious practice, it's not a performance, it's just a quiet moment to reconnect with yourself. For me, that moment begins with amaranth, a small handful of seeds rinsed, slowly cooked with water or almond milk. No sugar needed. Maybe a dash of cinnamon, some chia seeds, or a few slices of banana. As it starts to simmer, I let it go gently, the same way we all need to be treated in the early hours. And while it cooks, I don't do anything else. No phone, no news, no worry. I just stand there, watch the pot. Breathe, let the scent rise. I call that moment the quiet hour. Because if your day is going to be filled with tension, then your morning should be your shelter. And food isn't just fuel, it's a language of love. One of my patients, her name is Me, 82 years old, once said something that nearly brought tears to my eyes. "Doctor," she said, "when I eat this bowl of porridge every morning, I feel like I still matter, like I'm taking care of the child inside me." That stayed with me for years, and it helped me realize amaranth isn't just food. It's a symbol, a message, a quiet way of loving yourself. So why is amaranth so fitting for breakfast after 60? Because it's gentle yet complete. It doesn't cause inflammation. It's easier on the stomach than most animal proteins. But it contains complete protein, plus magnesium, iron, polyphenols, and squalene, all nutrients that support your muscles, your brain, and your mitochondria. It keeps your blood sugar stable, no spikes and crashes like industrial cereals. That means clearer focus, less fatigue after meals, and steadier energy. And most of all, it invites you to slow down. You can't rush amaranth. Its texture asks you to chew slowly, to stay present, to pause between bites, as if it's whispering, "Slow down, you still have time." I often share this image with my patients. Think of breakfast as a cellular reset. When you eat amaranth, you're sending a recovery signal. When you sit and breathe slowly, you're sending a signal of safety. When you hold your spoon with gratitude, you're sending a signal of life continuing. Each of these actions, though small, are like startup codes for a more vibrant day. And I want you to remember this. Strength doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from repeating small, meaningful ones every day without interruption. Half a cup of amaranth, 3 minutes of gentle movement, one mindful spoonful, one deep breath. You do it for one day, maybe nothing changes. Do it for 10 days, you begin to feel your body more clearly. Do it for 60 days, your body begins to repair itself. Do it for 6 months, you become a different person, not younger. but strong enough to be in charge of yourself again. Let me close this journey with a soft reminder. Growing older isn't an ending. It's a new season, a time when we learn to love ourselves more deeply than ever before. And amaranth, a seed so small, can be the seed that helps you restore belief in this truth, that you can still change, you can still heal, you can still live well and live beautifully starting tomorrow morning. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and if something in this video touched your heart, let tomorrow begin with a warm bowl of porridge, a deep breath, and a quiet reminder. I'm still here, and I still have strength. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the end. Please share this video with someone you love, someone who also deserves to heal from the inside out. And remember, sunrise doesn't come with sunlight. It begins when we choose to wake up in a new way. Wishing you a peaceful day from Dr. Mark Ellis. If this message spoke to you, if you felt seen, heard, or gently reminded that your body still matters, then don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone in your life, a parent, a friend, a neighbor, who may be waking up each day feeling tired, disconnected, or forgotten. They deserve a new beginning, too. Leave a comment below and tell me, what small habit will you start tomorrow morning? Subscribe to the channel for more peaceful, science-based ways to care for your body and age with clarity, purpose, and grace. You don't need to change everything. You just need to begin with one breath, one bowl, one moment of stillness. And I'll be here to walk with you step by gentle step. See you in the next video, and until then, keep choosing to live slowly and fully. Dr. Mark Ellis.